Welcome to Inside JMS, stories from the faculty and staff of the Hank Greenspun School of Journalism and Media Studies. Today we have Jason Beatty with us.
Yes, sir. What a pleasure. Thank you so much to be included, guys.
Jason, we're really excited to have you here. We've been looking forward to hearing more about you. You know, I guess maybe to start out, how does a guy come from the Cayman Islands to Las Vegas? And and I know by way of New York.
Sure.
But you've gone from all these places where there's lots of water.
Yeah, right.
And now you're here in the desert.
You know, it's actually kind of like the perfect polar opposite to go from conservative Christian island in the Caribbean to Sin City out here in the desert in Las Vegas. But that kind of has been always sort of like my direction. I always kind of look for drastic changes, and to go from the Cayman Islands, where I had been from 2007 into 2019. I briefly left there to go up to New York to work for a morning show at iHeartMedia, and then COVID kind of shut it down. So I was still paid, and my contract was still honored, so I just got to kind of take a year off. And then as I was trying to expand my horizons, see how I could still utilize all of my experience in radio broadcasting and do something that would allow me to use that instead of starting in a completely new field, I started thinking about what it would be like to be a broadcasting professor or to work at a college station and oversee teaching kids how to do it. And when University of Nevada at Las Vegas was looking, and I just happened to fill out the form correctly, and our general manager, Dr. Ashton Ridley, gave me a call, and before you know it, now it's a year later, and I'm sitting across the table from you guys. So,
well, we're really happy to have you. Tell me how you got into broadcasting.
Okay. So I think the seed started when I was just like maybe 16 years old, and I had gotten a bunch of jobs working as like a bar back at like the nightclubs. And the radio DJs would come in and they would host the contests and give away the pagers back in the late 90s. And I remember thinking, I listened to those guys on the radio. I'd like to be those guys. So I finished up college and finished up high school, got into college, studied. I went to New York State at Brockport and studied broadcast journalism. And all through my college career, I was really on a journalism path. So I took all of the SUNY Cable News, which is State University of New York Cable News. So a lot of journalism and writing, and kind of had focused in on that. And then my first semester of my senior year, I was listening to the radio station in my hometown, and they said, "Hey, do you want to be an intern? Call us for an internship." So I called and ended up getting the internship, and that was like October. And then by November, they brought me in the promotions department. And then by November, the promotions director had quit. So because I had experience working as a mobile DJ and I know how to work sound systems, they hired me to become the promotions director. So now I was overseeing a staff of interns, which I was kind of still one, and handling all of the off-site events for CBS Radio. We had 4 stations then. And then my spring semester of my senior year, my final semester, we had figured it out. So I was getting like 9 credits for my internship, which I was facilitating at the same time. But it was great work experience, and getting to work at CBS really opened a lot of doors for me down the road. So I did. I worked as the promotions director, and then I quickly kind of moved into being on-air talent. I had the coveted Sunday night 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift for a little while. From there, I moved up to a music director. So then I was in charge of handling all the scheduling of the music and liaisoning with all of the record reps, and working directly with my program director for how the programming of the radio station sounded. All the while, I was learning production and how to make commercials and how to assist with the imaging, because a guy by the name of Gene Filiacci told me the only people who are going to be successful in radio these days, or even in broadcasting these days, are people who have multiple talents, someone who's versatile across multiple departments, because the way radio consolidates down so much, they're really only going to hold on to the most valuable people. So he said, said, kid, take it from me, learn as much as you can while you're here. And that's kind of what I did. So I just was a sponge when I was at CBS, and I got a chance to work with amazing people. And a lot of the kids who started with me, the same class, all kind of came in as interns, are now working and running radio stations all around the world. So it's been a fun run for sure.
I think it's interesting, Jason. You're the operations manager for KUNV.
Sure.
And we have the former operations manager as my co-host on this podcast.
Tremendously hard shoes to fill. Dave is one of the most talented guys I've ever known. Just also a great guy. And to this day, I'm coming to Dave and asking him questions because Dave is the architect. Dave knows how everything works. And
too kind, my friend.
It's a guy.
Too kind.
So I think of it like, in situations where in previous places where I've been, I like it when the new guy who took over for me calls me and asks, hey, how did we do this? I hope I'm not too much of a burden for Dave because I know Dave's super busy. So.
Anytime.
Dr. Dave Norris, now an assistant professor in residence here at the Hank Greenspun School. Dave, you probably have some interesting questions asked simply because you two are cut from similar cloth.
Well,
I think so.
I love the fact that, Jason, when you're sharing your story, you kind of talk about what got you into this, what you did when you were in college, and kind of how you've been able to parlay that into your experience here with the students. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what are you doing now? What's kind of your day-to-day look like? And what are you looking forward to doing kind of in the months and kind of years ahead?
Well, Dave really is a kind of a role model for me. A lot of what Dave has managed to do with his career, I aspire to as well. But when I talk about my day-to-day, and when we say KUNV, I almost feel like we're selling ourselves short because really there's 3 radio stations that make up KUNV. So running just one radio station is a tremendous undertaking, but taking on 3 is 3 times as big. So, every day, I'm handling everything that comes out of the speakers for each one of the radio stations. And with that is dealing with 3 different staffs as well. But the one thing that I find truly unique, because I can operate radio stations without problem, but the one thing that is truly unique about this experience is getting to work with the students. And a lot of the, hey, Jason, or hey, Jason, are you busy? The interruptions. And they're not interruptions. What they are is, they're teaching. They're teaching moments. I know that our moniker is to teach, inspire, and connect. And I hope that by making time for every one of those interruptions and interactions with the students, they feel like, I'm making time for them. I'm showing them that, despite the busyness of operating 3 stations, because anybody who's ever done that knows how that is, we're still here to make time for the students and show them what we're doing and why we're doing it. And a lot of times when people ask me to explain what I do, and I kind of talk about KUNV as being almost like a teaching hospital, where you have students who are doctors and they're working under the supervision of professional staff. We're sort of like a teaching radio station, and I treat all of the students exactly like I would treat a member of a staff at a radio station. If you've got a project, it's not due. You don't get it to me when it's done. I need this by the end of the day, and I think they respond well to that by showing them that they're a part of this real project, this real team, and we have deadlines. It's got to get on the air, and it's got to sound good, and I need that as soon as possible. So,
what's been the biggest surprise working with the students?
Biggest surprise working with the students is just the talent. I'm constantly amazed at how talented they are, and how quick the students pick things up. I've spent when I was working in the Cayman Islands, we didn't really have a robust university system feeding the broadcasting industry down there. So a lot of what I did there was teach. And teach people how to be radio professionals and programmers. But the caliber of students coming here are already kind of one, computer savvy, 2, kind of broadcast savvy. A lot of them have had podcasts, or they've been in front of a camera, or they've got YouTube channels. The kids are, and they're passionate too. When I see a student who clearly connects and they want to be a part of the team, and then they just kind of tend to be around a lot, that always kind of touches my heart because I was that person. I just wanted more and more responsibility. So to see the passion and the just how advanced they are, I think impresses me every day.
I'm sure that has to be a real interesting change of pace. What have what is it that's really inspired you about this position?
Oh man, getting to work with students is the one element that I think I enjoy the most. Because I've worked in radio for 23 years, but the student element is a whole new thing, and I kind of like as the semester is wrapping up and they're about to graduate, how we come together and like, all right, let's try to get you a job somewhere. So I'll use my connections. We'll go on the internet and we'll do our best to try to get them placed, especially the ones who are really passionate. I think of 3 students last semester who were with me, who had varying ranges of participation. I think one had just started, one had been with Rebel for a couple semesters, and the other maybe a little longer. But they were rapidly coming to an end of their, the time at Rebel, and they needed a job. So we, put our heads together, worked to make a good demo, worked to get their resume together, so that when they went to the program director for the local broadcasting stations, they were taken seriously. And all 3 of them ended up getting jobs. One of our alumni at Beasley, the other one's at iHeart, and the other one's with Odyssey. So that feels good. And truthfully, we ended up hiring on a couple staffers ourselves to help assist. They did such a good job when they were students helping around the various departments that we brought them on to stick around and continue to help us out this semester. So I really like seeing them. When I took this job, I had dealt so much with college graduates who want to be radio DJs or who want to be in radio but don't have an air check, or they're not sure if they've done this. They don't know how to run the board. They don't know what an automation system is. So I tried to tell myself that anybody who comes out of Rebel and KUNV will have an air check, will have done everything, will have experience, so that when you send your stuff off to the program director, they're going to take you seriously. Whereas I'm sure Dave knows when he was running stations, you put a job up on All Access looking for DJs, you get 200 emails and only 10 of them really kind of meet the qualifications you're looking for. So I want to make sure that the students who are coming out of Rebel are world-class, ready to go. Entry-level board op positions, they can handle it no problem.
How about your experience in Las Vegas? I mean, you've moved across country, you've come here. A little bit of culture shock, possibly?
Yes, especially coming from a sleepy island in the Caribbean where not much happens except happy hour and sunsets. But here in Las Vegas, just the abundance of things to do. I kind of liken it to, I don't know if you guys remember when Napster first came out, and you were sitting in front of Napster, and you can pick any song that's ever been made. Where are you going to start? That's sort of how I feel like in Las Vegas. There's so many choices. Where do you even begin? And I've kind of been trying to digest Las Vegas in sections. So I've really done well digesting I think it's called the Whitney section. I'm in Whitney, the kind of southeast portion. I kind of know my way around here. I've done a lot of things in Henderson and dug down into Enterprise a little bit, and been just kind of learning the city. It's a big city, very big city. Lots to do. Not quite as inexpensive as I thought it was going to be. Everyone said that it's a cheaper place to live. Hasn't been so much my experience, but the people have been super friendly. It's very, feels a lot like the Cayman Islands in that a lot of people are transplants from other places. So people tend to be kind of, I think, a little friendlier because they've also been in your situation where you may not know anybody. But it's a beautiful city. It was hot this summer for sure. I thought I knew hot. I didn't know hot. But for those 3 months, that means the other 9 are just perfect. So it's been beautiful.
So we've heard about your background a little bit, Jason. We've heard a little bit about kind of what brought you to Las Vegas. Let's go back in time a little bit. Tell us about your upbringing. How'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up? Kind of what led you to where you were in college when you're like, all right, I'm going to go this mobile DJ route over here.
Okay, so I'm originally from Rochester, New York, which is just about 60 miles east of Buffalo. It's in western New York. I grew up, my mom and dad split when we were young, so we would kind of do time between my mom and my dad. But my uncles on my mom's side really played like a big kind of role in my life. They were just really good role models, very outgoing, polite, successful guys all in their own right. And when I got into high school, that's when my one uncle, his Uncle Dave, he used to tell great stories. Everyone in my family tries to make everyone else laugh. So when Dave had moved out to California, and my other uncles had moved out to California, so there was that kind of adventurous spirit in our family. And my grandfather had moved the family from England to America, so it's kind of in our blood to move. But Dave always used to tell me great stories about when he worked at the roller skating rink back in the 80s. So I thought that'd be a great idea. I'll get a job working at a roller skating rink. So I did, and I was the DJ at the skating rink, and they had showed me how to, and it was really good practice, Dave, for what we do now, because the phone would ring, and you'd have to make the announcement that the kids' pizza was ready, and everyone had to go to the snack bar, and then the kids were coming to the door to make requests, and you had to host contests. What I didn't know, I was like really doing great training for what it would be like on air. So I had done that for a couple years, and then that's when I decided that I really wanted to get into radio. That with working in the nightclubs, it sounded like it was going to be a lot of fun. But the one moment that I didn't touch on that really kind of was a fork in the road for me was during my senior year of college. So I had gotten hired with CBS. I was working for the radio, but I was also in all of these journalism classes, kind of aspiring to be like a news reporter. And then on election night, we kind of got placed with different local news outlets. So I was with NBC. And we're sent out to cover the Republican headquarters, the reaction after the votes came in or something. And I've always just kind of been like a go-getter. I don't really have any sense of shame. So they sent me with a camera guy out to get reactions from the candidates. And I took the mic and I just pretended to be a reporter, and I got reactions from all of the candidates. And I just didn't think it was a big deal. And then when we had gotten back to NBC, like the news place, they said, we don't do internships. I ended up knowing one of the kids who worked there. He's like, but my boss is really impressed, and they'd like to offer you an internship. And here I was already working full-time for CBS. So it could have went one or two ways. So I decided to stick with the radio way, which ended up working out because further down the line, my radio company ended up buying TV stations, which allowed me to then get back into TV briefly. So it wasn't a total loss, but it's been an interesting career, a lot of fun for sure.
That's great.
Yeah,
it's great. So so we talk about radio, and I know you're passionate about that, but what are your other passions? What else really gets you inspired and gets you up in the morning?
Yeah. I like anything creative. So, great, like an art exhibit, I could go and like look at art and talk about art. I like kind of getting lost in creative stuff. A great comedian, like a great dig. Something great written, anything that's creative, I really can dig. I'm not a huge sports guy. I'm not a guy who will watch a lot of sports on TV, but if we've got tickets for the game, I'd love to go watch the game in person, I enjoy cooking a lot, especially I've gotten lost. So I used that time off during COVID to kind of lose some weight that I had put on in my transition back to America. As soon as I got back to America, I just pigged out. So I got healthy, kind of changed my lifestyle, quit smoking, and got healthy and got into fitness and watching what I eat. So that's been a big part of my life. And for the past year, as I kind of settled into Las Vegas, I found myself using a lot of that free time you have as you kind of, navigate the city and figure out who you are out here, to kind of, focus in and go to the gym and make dinner and make lunch and meal prep and stuff. So a lot of my time goes into that. But yeah, if there's something creative, a great show, or live music, I really like, especially working for the radio stations. It's one of the perks is that you kind of have access to live artists and stuff. So I've seen quite a few live shows since I've been out here. Lionel Richie, the highlight I got to see a couple weeks ago. So,
well, that's awesome.
Before we close out,
wow,
thinking
fast.
about the future,
Sure.
what do you want to do, man? I mean, you're here. You've got kind of the radio stations are sounding great, but I know that you're a perfectionist. You want them to sound not just great, but outstanding, right?
Right.
But like, what else is kind of on your agenda if you're looking kind of long term? What would you like to see? KUNV?
We're working here at a university. Obviously, my main, especially being surrounded by so many doctors, is probably to head down that same path. I'd like to get my master's in journalism media studies, and wouldn't hurt to see doctor on my tombstone either. So one thing I learned in working out is that time's going to pass no matter what. A year from now we're going to say, "Oh, I can't believe a year's passed," and what you can do with that year is all up to you. So I'm definitely planning on pursuing my master's, and then hopefully right after that moving in to try and get my doctorate. I think my mom would be pretty proud. Not that she isn't already, but if I had a doctor, certainly it would definitely outdo my younger brother. So he'd have to eat that one.
Well, I think I may know a guy. So
right. But yeah, I'd like to continue to be more involved with the university. I mean, this first year, I can't believe how fast it's went by. But getting involved as much as I can in all the different aspects of the university, getting to know more staff and being able to contribute more to the students' experience here is definitely a goal for sure.
Well, that's great. Well, Jason, we sure appreciate you spending some time with us today.
For sure.
Anything we should have asked you that we didn't ask you?
Oh, geez. No, I think we hit it all. You guys are pretty good interviewers for sure. This is the first time I've actually been on this side of the microphone in this room, so it's been a nice experience. Thank you for letting me be on.
Well, thank you for joining us. That'll do it for Inside JMS. We'll see you next time.